Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to talk about sanity and how I am keeping myself sane through the insanity that is infertility. So a lot of people say like, gosh, I've been trying to conceive for 6 months. I'm going crazy, and I can't help but think to myself like, you think that's crazy? Try, being in these shoes for almost 4 years. That's maddening. And it's not to say that one is better than the other, or like my situation is worse than yours, because we all have our own unique situations. But I think it's important that we keep everything in perspective, because that helps us stay sane. So for example, I was really excited to go to my first natural IVF consultation, and I'd been counting down the days till the day we were going to go in. My husband made sure he took off work for it, and I had my list of questions, everything was all prepared. And then 2 days before the consultation, the doctor's office called and said, Michelle, unfortunately we have to reschedule you because the doctor's having a family emergency. And so I could have done one of two things in that situation. I could have said, okay, let's reschedule for whatever date is available, or I could have freaked out and gotten really irritated and mad at the doctor and mad at the situation and said like, this isn't fair, I've been waiting for this long. And I didn't choose to do that, because what came to my mind, and this is where that keeping perspective thing comes in handy. The doctor's having a family emergency. A family emergency, that's bad. I mean, you don't just call something an emergency because you're having a bad moment. Like that, an emergency is significant. So if this doctor's having a family emergency, the least thing I can do is be willing to just move my appointment a few weeks or a month or whatever it is, and be so grateful that I'm not the one having a family emergency. So that's my first tip to staying sane, is just keep everything in perspective. Being someone who's going through infertility really, really sucks. I get it. I totally get it. I hate it. It sucks. It's miserable at times. But I have to always remember that there's someone who's fighting for their last breath right now in a hospital. There's someone who's dying and they've never even celebrated their 18th birthday, or they've never gone, and experienced life yet. There are people who have such dire situations, and infertility feels like a dire situation, and it is at times, but we still have to remember that everything is in, keep everything in perspective. Another thing I want to add is the and then what, or worst case scenario mentality. So as a newborn care specialist, I specialized in postpartum doula. I specialized in postpartum depression, and one of the things that would come up is women who felt very fearful and very scared, and then also just felt like this overall sense of dread. They dreaded every day. They would dread waking up. They would dread tending to their baby's needs, and they felt bad about that. They didn't want to have postpartum depression. And so we would kind of talk about worst case scenarios. And so, for example, with one mom, she said to me, I'm really scared that I'm not going to enjoy these moments. I'm really scared that I'm going to look back and regret this. And I said, okay, what would the worst case scenario be? And she said that I'm not going to remember him as a baby because I'm so stuck in my own head. And I said, we take pictures every day, right? You take tons of pictures of him, and your family takes pictures of him. And she said, yeah. And I said, so is it actually feasible that you would forget him at these stages? And she said, well, I mean, I guess I wouldn't forget him. And I said, and you're journaling, right? You keep a journal about everything that you're feeling. And she said, oh yeah, I keep a journal. And I said, and in your journal, you share like what little things he did that day, right? And she said, yeah. And I said, so you would have the photos and you'd have the journal. And then what? And then what other fears do you have? And she said, well, I guess you're right. I guess that's true. And so sometimes when you think through your fears, they're really not that bad. So let's apply that back to infertility for a second. And I did this personally, and I found that it was really helpful. So what I did was I challenged myself to go through all my infertility fears. And this is kind of what it looked like. Okay, why does one eye look like my eyeshadow is even, but for some reason on camera it looks like eyeshadow on this one, not on this one. Anyway, so infertility fears. My worst case scenario fear was like, what if I just can't get pregnant? What if I can't? So go there in your mind, whatever your fear is, think about that fear for a minute. What is that fear? Okay, well, what if I can't get pregnant? Okay, if I can't get pregnant, if I never can conceive, what will I do? I'm not gonna die. my heart will be broken. My dreams will be dead in the sense of never being able to carry a baby. But I will adopt. I will adopt a baby, or two, if I can't conceive naturally. So will I still be a mom? Yes. Will it still be the same? No. Will I still get to enjoy all of the firsts and have a family? Yes. Okay. So then you step backwards from that and you go, okay, well, if I'm still going to be a mom at the end of this, it's not as bad. It still sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's not as bad. So walk with your fears backwards. Go to the worst case scenario and then just do some back steps there. And then you start to realize that, you know what? It's going to be okay. No matter what happens, it's going to be okay. And that keeps me sane. Knowing that it will be okay and I will be a mom no matter how this plays out makes me feel at peace. I feel okay. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful for you. If it was, please share it. There are some people out there who need this message. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't subscribed to my videos already. I recommend you do, because I will continue to journal and give you guys some great things to think about. And I love hearing from you as well. So feel free to comment below or send me a message. It's always fun to connect with you guys. Take care.